there, thank you so much for joining me today. So I'm on a mission basically to live my best life. I'm exploring and sharing little ways to do that, primarily through mindset and also movement. Today I'm going to be chatting with you about one of my all-time passions, Pilates. So if, like a lot of people, you've heard of Pilates but you don't quite get it or you're not quite sure, then let's have a little chat. I'm going to explain basically what it is, its origins and the benefits that it could bring to your life. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? What is it? Or I should say, who is it? Because actually Pilates is a movement method and it's named after the guy who invented it, Joseph Pilates. Pilates was born in Germany in 1880. He was actually quite a sickly child and he became super driven to become basically as healthy and as strong as he could. And spoiler alert, he did. He took up a variety of sports as he was growing up, including bodybuilding, skiing, diving, gymnastics. He even became a professional boxer. He became so healthy and strong and basically absolutely ripped, he became quite well known for posing for anatomical drawings. He was also really keenly interested in other complementary things like meditation, martial arts, Tai Chi, and notably breathwork, which became a really fundamental component of Pilates. In World War I, he became a prisoner of war. In the camp where he was being held, he used his time there to develop this into a more structured movement method. He called it contrology, so like the art of control. And I love this little snippet, right? While he was there, he rehabilitated and trained the soldiers that were there with him. And determined not to leave anyone out, he even devised a way of attaching springs from the beds to the bedposts and stuff, so that even the guys that were bedbound had a way of working out. This was the basis of the Pilates reformer, which is a big bit of equipment with springs and a bed that slides, essentially, and it's still really widely used today. Anyway, once all that was over, him and his wife Clara moved to New York, where they opened this bougie little studio where they could teach this new conditioning method. He made lots of connections during his time in New York, and he worked alongside some really notable dance pioneers. Now, as an ex-dancer, I totally nerd out on this stuff. He worked with Martha Graham and Rudolph Laban, just to name drop a couple of big ones there. If you're not a dance nerd like me, these were essentially just really, really integral people in the world of dance. And in fact, the Laban School of Contemporary Dance is still one of the best places you can train. Anyway, from there on in, him and Clara basically killed it. They were teaching athletes, ballet dancers, celebrities, actors, all the high flyers of New York would come to them to be trained. They then branched out a little bit into the wider world. Pilates wrote 2 books and released them, and the method became more mainstream and more well known. Anyway, back to what it actually is. Pilates is a method. It's about functional movement, essentially training your whole body to work at its optimum. There's a real focus on using those deep core muscles to build strength, stability, and good posture. Pilates called this your powerhouse, essentially those deep stabilizing muscles of the core, your transverse abdominis, your obliques, your multifidus, your pelvic floor, your diaphragm, everything around this core trunk area that brings you posture and stability. Pilates exercises also work on strength, mobility of the joints, flexibility, balance, and coordination. Basically, it's a full body conditioning workout. So aside from what it is, the other main thing, which is just as, if not more important, is how it's done. What I mean by that is, Pilates is focused. It is specific. Quite often, a movement, if you were just to observe someone doing it, would appear a really small movement, possibly insignificant, and look really easy. But it can be extremely effective when you're focused in on the application of it. This is why one of the main benefits of practicing Pilates is what we now know as mindfulness. Pilates wanted his students to make focused, intentional movements. You really have to zone in on what you're working on, and it's so great for that mind-body connection. It's also why it's a great complementary method to other sports. You can get the freedom and the cardio from other things. So go to the gym, throw a few weights around, go for a run, dance around, whatever, do your other sports, and then come back to Pilates as kind of the yin to the yang. Is that the right way round? The yin to the yang. You know what I mean. And that's the kind of zone we're in, like scientific, anatomical sports conditioning, but with a really lush, mindful breathwork spin on it as well. I hope that's helped you understand a little bit more about this fantastic movement method. Let me know if you've learned anything new and what your journey with Pilates is. I'd love to know, genuinely. Leave me a little comment. If this has been interesting for you, I'd love a like or a big juicy subscribe. Thanks so much for chatting with me. I'll see you really soon. Anatomical.